Good afternoon, YouTubers. Welcome back in to another edition of Astros Recap. David Artis with you one more time for another year of Astros Talk, Astros Baseball. Opening day's tomorrow, of course, so super excited for that. Astros don't play till after 9 o'clock, so we'll see how things go. That really doesn't bother me that much. In fact, I work tomorrow. So this will be the first opening day in over a decade where I've actually had to work. I just recently got a broadcasting gig with TSRN, so I'll have to do a game in, I believe, Cypress Christian tomorrow at 7. I won't get off till probably 10 o'clock or so. We'll see. So I'll miss, about half the game, but excited that baseball's, finally back, basically. Big opening day tomorrow, of course. Astros, a lot of things. Last time I talked to you, of course, talked about Michael Brantley and sort of the questions going into the season. Those questions are still unanswered, and we have a lot going in, mainly when it comes to our starting rotation. But we'll see how things sort of shake out this year. Of course, I think our pitching staff is sort of set for this 4-game set with Oakland, as Greinke will get the opening day nod. And then, let's see, after Greinke, I think they go to McCullers. I'm trying to think. I might have to look at this. I did bring my phone. But you'll have McCullers or Urquidy and Christian Javier. I think that wraps up the 4 pitchers in this first series. I know Greinke starts opening day, but as far as 2, 3, and 4, we'll have to look on my phone real quick for that. And as always is an issue when I'm trying to do this podcast, my phone doesn't want to load. God, this just pisses me off. Alright. Come on. I get into a lot today during this podcast, obviously, talk about the Astros, the way I see things sort of shaking out for them. Also, I want to predict some of the other teams and how sort of your division winners, I believe the expanded playoff format they had last year, they're also doing this year. I could be wrong, but I thought I did hear that somewhere. So we'll see. I'll give you I'll give you the division winners, of course, and then I'll give you some of the teams I think will be right there winning wild card spots to get in the postseason as well. But so yeah, actually it's going to go Greinke and Javier is going to pitch on Friday in Game 2. And then it will be McCullers on Saturday, Game 3, and Jose Urquidy to wrap up the week. And then as far as Monday, we do not know yet, but I'm thinking that's probably going to be Jake Odorizzi. Talked about Framber Valdez, broke his finger. He's actually close to returning. I thought I heard at some point like he was going to be out for the year, but James Click, our GM, was actually on the morning show for one of the sports talk radio stations, Sports Talk 790 here in Houston, and I didn't listen to it, but I saw on Twitter that he was closer rather than later to returning, so be nice to get him back in the rotation. But yeah, Jake Odorizzi. One of the things I talked about last podcast was Forrest Whitley possibly making this team, but he's out now with Tommy John, so a long wait for him, obviously. But I'm starting to get fed up. I talk in the past about how fed up I get with Carlos Correa and his numerous injuries. Obviously, last year's 60-game season didn't get hurt, so hard to take a lot into that. We'll see with this year if he can stay healthy. But Forrest Whitley, he was hurt last year. He got busted for the whole Adderall PED suspension thing. Now he's hurt, and he's going to be out with Tommy John for, I guess, a year and a half is the way I look at it. So I have no idea what to say, but it's not looking good for Whitley. I mean, he's got to be at least 26, 27, I would assume at this point, and I don't know. But, yeah, so no major moves done by the Astros since I talked to you last. Michael Brantley was the biggest signing they made, signing Jake Odorizzi, which I just mentioned. was just to add depth. That was sort of done after Framber Valdez did get hurt. So that just gives them another option. I don't know much about Odorizzi. I know he played for Tampa Bay, Minnesota. I believe last year, I look at stats and just numbers, ERA, wins, losses, strikeouts as it comes to pitchers, and then sort of batting average, RBIs, home runs with hitters. I can't take 60 games and look at that and sort of tell you. It's just not enough games. It's not even half a regular season. So I can't take a whole lot of last year and look at those numbers and base sort of what I think is going to happen this year based on last year. So Odorizzi did not pitch well last year, but the previous year before that, I believe, with Tampa Bay, I want to say, in 2019, I believe he did a pretty solid year. So we'll see what we get. I have no idea, to be quite honest with you. They did sign Lance McCullers to an extension, so 5 years, $85 million, which is a big risk for a guy who's never actually had completed a full major league season without being hurt. And last year, again, 60 games, and still a big question mark with Lance McCullers. He'll have a chance to sort of show what he's made of here this year. So hopefully, we need him. I mean, you signed him to a big deal. Obviously, no Verlander with the Tommy John. Don't know what you're going to get out of Greinke, but McCullers is right there, and he's got a chance to really step up and sort of be the ace of the staff, or at least a low-end 2, high-end 3 type guy. We'll see. But Javier, I'm excited to see what he can give us this year. Hopefully, Urquidy, obviously, last year didn't start the season, but he came on, and I mean, he's pitched good in some, high leverage playoff baseball games. So, I'm excited with them two, both Javier and Urquidy this year. McCullers is a question mark, Greinke's a question mark, and Odorizzi obviously is a question mark, and we'll see with Valdez. But that's sort of your 6 starters that we'll probably see here in the first month of baseball, barring any injuries, of course. Bullpen I look at, I really need to go over the roster to really give you, because I don't know if they've set the 25, or is it 26? I think it's 26 guys actually will be the roster going into tomorrow. I haven't seen it posted or anything yet. Maybe I'll check it out in a second here. But the one big thing was Correa, trying to get him signed, and they have about 24 hours to get that done, or by the end of tonight at midnight, because he is not going to sign during the year. He already said so. The Astros, the clock's ticking here, because if they don't get a deal done, now I know people are panicking, thinking I think even if they don't get a deal done here within the next 6-8 hours, whatever it is, I think that they still will be in the running. Now they can't outbid other teams that are going to give them $200 million. But if Correa wants to stay in Houston, or so he says, I've heard him say, I'm thinking that the Astros would give him a pretty decent big money deal, but we're not interested in going 7-8 year type deals, and I think that's sort of what he's looking for. But I feel like the Astros have no choice; they have to pay him, and I think that cap space will open up because Greinke and Verlander, who are getting paid pretty good money, are off the books after this year. So that will open up cap space, which will give them more flexibility in signing him. But yeah, I'd obviously rather have a deal done here within the next 8 hours, but probably not going to happen. I'd be a little bit surprised. But they gave McCullers a pretty big deal, so we'll see. But he's got to show that he can stay healthy, one, and he's also got to pitch well. So we'll see. But full season, 162 games, so everything should sort of fall into place when it comes to evaluating players with numbers, statistics, everything like that. Last year I can't do it in just 60 games. I refuse to do it. I don't think it's a good indicator. I mean, you could look at some things here and there, but I can't look at that and then just go straight to, well, based on 60 games last year. This is how the whole year last year was with the coronavirus and everything everything just not normal. Baseball, as I mentioned in my last podcast, was the one sport more affected by this coronavirus than any other sport, I would say. Just because of the length of the season, the rule changes they made, expanding the playoffs, the extra inning rule, your expanded rosters, your expanded playoff format, the whole thing was just not regular baseball for me. So, congratulations, Dodgers. You won a World Series in a year that was, in my book, irrelevant. Of course, for any of you non-Astros fans out there can come back at me and say, well, you want to taint the title in 17 with our cheating scandal, the Astros cheating scandal. Whatever. I'm not going to go 10 rounds with anybody there. But anyway, so, that's just sort of the quick season. Starting pitching, obviously. I went through 6 names there. Hopefully, I think for the Astros this year, and Todd Callis brought this up earlier, he was on the radio as well, staying healthy is going to be huge because the depth just isn't there. They don't have people, they don't have, 7 or 8 arms in the rotation they can go to. The bullpen, we saw it last year because you had basically 3 weeks of spring training, the shutdown, and then you had 2 weeks to ramp things back up. And last year taught me how important spring training actually is with, sort of easing your guys back into their full workload when it comes to pitchers and at-bats for the hitters, things like that. But overall, excited for tomorrow. Opening day is always a big day during the year for me. So I'll be able to watch a little bit of the games, but I'm going to miss a good chunk of the Astros. I don't have to watch every single game, but opening day is, one of those bigger days for me. But even when I'm not watching the Astros, I'm obviously keeping close eye on the game and everything I can possibly do. So we'll see. They play Oakland tomorrow, so it'll be a 4-game set. Oakland obviously won the division last year. We knocked them out of the playoffs, though, so we sort of got them back and beat them when it counted the most. As far as our division outlook goes this year, not a whole lot. Before I actually start talking about our division, to wrap up our pitching here, our bullpen, so I'm going to need to bring the phone back out for this. Obviously, I can name a few guys when it comes to, I believe Ryan Presley is our closer, which I don't necessarily agree with. I'd actually give Enoli Paredes the first crack at closing games because I think Presley's better served as your 8th inning guy. I don't think he's a terrible closer, but I just think he's more valuable in the 8th inning role, and I think Paredes has the stuff to sort of take the next step after last year to actually close out games. But I don't think that's the case. I think that Dusty Baker is going to roll with Presley at least to start for our closer role. A few guys coming back. Joe Smith, of course, who opted out of last year. He's not really, he's more of a mid-relief, sort of sidearm, submarine type. He's not, he's actually been a closer before for the Angels for a small period of time, I believe, 1 year. He's been a setup guy, but I think at this point in time, he's just sort of a mid-reliever. I don't really see him as a huge guy that's going to get, big outs. He did pitch well in the postseason back, 2019, I believe? And he got some big outs then, but, so I'm just looking at the roster here. So, because obviously the season hasn't started, so things can easily slip my mind. But, so bullpen, obviously, I talked Presley, Paredes, Joe Smith, Josh James, who was terrible last year. I've sort of completely lost any faith in him. So Josh James I wouldn't expect a ton from this year. But I do try to give people a fair chance every season. But Josh James is another guy in that bullpen that's pretty bad. Blake Taylor, I liked him last year as a lefty. Showed some things. Hopefully he will continue sort of what he was doing last year. But Blake Taylor's a guy I do think could be big for us. as I continue to go. Brian Abreu is going to make the squad. I did hear that. So uh, we haven't seen enough from him to really make a judgment on Abreu. But again, he's got an opportunity to really step up and be a fixture in that bullpen. So I keep going down. That's about all I got for you now. Obviously, I don't have the 25-man roster yet, to my knowledge. So um, we'll see. As Andre Scrub's another guy that's pitched pretty well in the bullpen, but looks like he's hurt with a shoulder injury. I don't I don't know if they're Jason Castro also dealing with an oblique, but these updates here are back on March 10th and March 18th, so I don't know how severe these injuries were here. So I mean, I'm looking at a lot of these. Pedro Baez is the guy in that bullpen. We'll see. Um, so yeah, we'll wait and see what we got, but I can't give you Austin Pruitt, who's another guy that was hurt all of last year. We'll see if he sort of gets things together, but Austin Pruitt. So I've just gone through a bit, basically a lot of your options in the bullpen there. So we'll see how things shake out when it comes to the bullpen and our starting pitching. And then obviously, from a hitting standpoint and our position players, you'll have Martin Maldonado for another year behind home plate. Jason Castro backing him up. Also, Garrett Stubbs is still in the minors. If Castro doesn't make the opening day roster because he's hurt or something, Garrett Stubbs will be our backup. Obviously, Altuve at second, Correa at short, and Bregman at third. So your regular infield there. Yuli Gurriel, of course, at first base. So bringing all of them back. Outfield is where you have the questions. Thankfully, you get Michael Brantley back out there in left field. And the Astros are going to roll with Miles Straw. Give him a real chance to play center field and probably bat 8th or ninth in the lineup. But they're going to give Miles Straw a chance. So that's a question mark. We talk about question marks when it comes to pitching. Miles Straw's a big question mark. And then in right field, of course, Kyle Tucker. And I think you bring Aledmys Diaz back. Of course, Jordan Alvarez will be our primary DH, I believe. So as I go through most of the roster, that's the way I sort of look at things. I'm probably leaving out an extra outfielder. Trying to think. I mean, I've gone through at least 20, but we'll see. Again, I don't have a roster. It probably comes out tomorrow early. But obviously, I wanted to get on and do this today, this podcast, mainly because tomorrow I got things I'll be dealing with. So, but yeah, so as I look at our division, obviously, I don't think it's going to be a tough division this year. I'm not going to discount Oakland because no matter how good or bad Oakland looks on paper, they always find a way to be right in the mix, it seems like, even when they lost their closer. Liam Hendricks, obviously, big name closer. He's been good for him for the last 3-4 years. I don't know where they go in their bullpen for that. They had a pretty good bullpen last year until we played them in the playoffs. But I mean, they'll have options, I guess, if they bring everybody else back. But we'll wait and see for that. And then I'm not going to buy the Angels until they actually show every year. I just feel like, after they got Rendon going into last year, and it's like Ohtani is now healthy. He's going to pitch. Every year we try to boost up the Angels, and every year they crumble, and they're just a terrible team. So I'm not going to buy the Angels this year as any sort of contender to make the playoffs or even be competitive until they actually show me that they can be. And then the Rangers and the Mariners will be battling it out for the fifth spot. I'd say the Rangers probably will be fourth, Mariners fifth. So I'll probably go Astros. Call me a homer if you want. I don't really care. I'll go Astros, A's, Angels, Rangers, Mariners in that order in the AL West. But I mean, 90 games might win the division. I don't really think it's going to be that tough. I can see the Astros winning 90, 92. They're not going to be a 100-win team. I just don't see it. They've lost the depth. That's why I think staying healthy is a big key this year. But I think that, yeah, they really need to. I see them winning maybe 88 to 92, sort of in that range would be my guess. If everything goes hopefully as planned. And I think that that's probably going to be good enough to probably win the division. That would be my guess. But again, I'm not going to. The Angels are the team that's hyped up every year that fails. The A's are a team every year that's basically the opposite. They're not hyped up, and then they end up achieving. So I'm not gonna be one of those people that doesn't think the A's are going to be good because they always seem to somehow, some way, even when we were winning our 100 games every year back in 17, 18, 19, they were always right behind us. We would play them, and I'd feel like we'd either take 2 or 3, sweep them, and they're like, all right, we're good. And you look up a week later, and there they are right on our tail again. So I'm not going to, the A's, I don't care what the team looks like. They're probably going to be a force to be reckoned with at some point during this year. Obviously, they won the division last year, so I know they lost some pieces, and they really didn't add a whole lot. But every year, it doesn't matter who leaves, who goes, who comes. They seem to find a way to be right in the mix there at the end. So anyway, that's how I see our division, obviously. To cover the other AL divisions, the Central, I'm probably going to I'm going to go with the White Sox to win that division. I think they're that good. I think Cleveland will probably be right there as well. Obviously, they lost Lindor. Jose Ramirez is probably their best guy, but Shane Bieber leading their rotation. I think they'll be somewhere in the mix, but I will pick the White Sox to win that division and win it pretty easily. That would be my guess there. And then in the AL East, of course, you got a few teams. I think Toronto and New York will be battling it out for that top spot. Toronto's going to be a very good team, but the Yankees obviously are always very good. I think it'll be back and forth really with that division with them two leading it. But the Orioles will be bad. Don't expect much from Boston. And then, how could I forget Tampa Bay? So I'm going to pick those 2 wildcard teams. I think 3 teams in that division. Obviously, the division winner will go to the playoffs, but I am going to put Toronto and Tampa Bay into that wildcard spot. 3 teams in that division will make the playoffs would be my bold. Well, it's not really a bold prediction. They have 3 really good teams, so I think most people would probably agree with that. If we do have the expanded playoffs, which I can't say 100%. I'll have a lot more for you. I do plan to talk to you again on Sunday after the Astros wrap up this 4-game set and give you sort of my recap of the first series. And I'll have more information on the full Astros roster and more rules and things like that. But yeah, I think I got the Astros. I guess I got to give you a division winner. I'll probably go Yankees just because they're the Yankees in the East, and I'll go, of course, White Sox in the Central. But I'll definitely have Toronto and Tampa Bay making the playoffs as wildcard teams. And if there's 2 other teams, I would probably go Oakland and I'm not gonna pick the Angels. I won't do it. So it'd probably be, I'm trying to think here. So the Tigers aren't going to be good. The Royals can't. I might give Cleveland that other nod. So yeah. Who am I missing? Well, the Twins. Yeah, actually, I'm forgetting the Twins in the AL Central. I think the Twins are probably better than the Indians, so I'd probably give the Twins the nod after the White Sox in that division. So yeah, I'd go White Sox, Twins, then I'd go Indians, Royals, Tigers, probably in that order there. In the East, I'd probably give the Yankees the nod to win the. I think the Rays won that division last year. And Toronto's just got all these star players, it seems like. So that's a tough one because any 3 of those teams could literally win the division. Obviously, don't have faith. Orioles will probably be last, and then you got you got the Red Sox probably finishing fourth. So that's sort of my outlook in the American League. National League's a little bit tougher because it's not a league I pay as much attention to, obviously. Um, yeah, so if I start in the West, obviously you got the Dodgers and the Padres who are going to lead the charge there, and I think that's going to sort of be like the AL East. But there's three teams really battling it out in the AL East with the Rays, Yankees, and Blue Jays. I think it's really a two-man race. I'm trying to think of anybody else, but the Diamondbacks don't seem like a particularly good team. You got the Giants who are sort of rebuilding. But the Padres, the Dodgers, who am I leaving out? Maybe somebody can help me with who I'm leaving out there. But it'll definitely be, yeah, I'll probably pick the Dodgers, but San Diego, I think it's going to sort of be back and forth, kind of like the AL East. So, but Dodgers and Padres definitely will be doing that. But San Francisco, Arizona, and I can't believe I can't think of the fifth team right now. But the Rockies. And I don't think the Rockies are going to be that good either. They lost Arenado. So the Rockies will probably be in like last place, battling it with Arizona, along with the Giants. Giants actually probably coming dead last if you were to ask me. But I think it'll be back and forth with the Dodgers and the Padres. Padres and the Blue Jays are the two big teams, along with the White Sox, that I think will be very intriguing teams to me this year, just as a fan of baseball in general. So, but that's sort of the West outlook. As I look at the Central, this is always a hard division to pick because any of these teams really could win it. When I look, so the four teams except we'll throw out the Pirates. But the Cardinals, the Cubs, the Brewers, and the Reds, any of those four teams can win. So it's really hard for me to pick a team there. I mean, I could go, with the track record of the Cardinals, and they made the postseason last year. I think they won that division, if I'm not mistaken. I know Milwaukee made it in, expanded playoff, of course. But I want to say, and the Reds also made it in. So the Reds are an intriguing team to me as well. They were supposed to be a good team last year, of course. They lost Trevor Bauer. He's with the Dodgers now, so we'll see. But that's just a hard division to pick. I'll come back to that. I want to go to the East real quick. I think this is a two-team race with the Braves and the Mets. I have no faith. No faith. I don't think the Nationals probably don't make the playoffs, to be quite honest with you. I don't think they do it. I tried to buy into the Phillies a few years ago. I won't do it. And then, of course, the Marlins, who made the playoffs last year. The Marlins will probably sort of be, I think they benefited from a shortened season last year. I think they sort of probably finished in the 500 area this year, middle of the pack. But you got the Braves probably winning that division. Yeah, I'd pick the Braves, and then I'd have I'd have the Mets probably getting in with an expanded playoff, the second seed there. So, and then to go back to the Central, I'll take a shot in the dark with these four teams, but I'm probably going to go Cardinals, just because the Reds are young. I'm not sure if they're ready. The Cubs have been falling, it seems like, and they're ready to ship off some of their players, I feel like, almost. And then the Brewers, yeah, I'm going to go Cardinals. I don't think this is a very hard division to win, but I think the Cardinals will probably come out on top. You might get a wild card. If it's the expanded playoff, of course, you're going to get a second team in that division. So, but I won't. It's hard for me, but I'm gonna do it here. So I'm gonna go Cardinals, Reds, Cubs, Brewers, Pirates in that order, and I could be completely wrong. The only thing I'm pretty sure about in that division is that the Pirates finished last. Other than that, any four of those teams could shake it out in any particular order, but I'll go Cardinals, Reds, Cubs, Brewers, Pirates, and we'll see if that ends up happening. So that's my sort of prediction going into this year. So leave it in the comment section below if you think I'm right or wrong, or if you agree, or if you have any input. I'm always open for feedback, so please leave that in the comment section below. Obviously, excited for tomorrow, so we're getting pumped up. I just wish I didn't work. That's all I wish. But I did my first broadcast on TSRN yesterday. It was a complete disaster. But I'll learn from it and try to get better. So, yeah. I called a softball game, Cypress Christian and Northland Christian. So, yeah, I called a softball game, and it was not a very well-played game. But my broadcasting was not at its best. But, yeah. I'll try to get, I do another one tomorrow, so we'll try to get better. But I'm excited for this opportunity to do this broadcasting. And obviously I still work with the Astros. This will be my 4th season with the team here. So obviously I just finished, I've been working there more than 3 years. So obviously like doing tours for the team. And yeah, I sort of like where I'm at. I worked at Whole Foods for about 9 months. They laid me off. Just giving you some background here on me. And what I'm doing these days. But again, I try to get on every Sunday night, starting now basically, and recapping the Astros week in review. Again, Sunday night's always a tough time for me to get guests on, but I'll try to make it work. I know last year 60 games, it was kind of hard at all, but we'll try to maybe I might call some friends and get their views. But, yeah, you'll be hearing a lot from me. So, hope you love me. Hope you listen to my podcast throughout the year. My 6 subscribers will probably get a notification here pretty soon. But like this video, share it with your friends. Leave comments. I always will read the comments, and I'll always respond if warranted. But, yeah, I hope you enjoy this year in Astros baseball. With my job really up in the air. I don't know what days I'm doing broadcasts, so Sunday nights may be tough, but I'm going to try to make it work. If not, Monday before a game starts, or if there's an off day on Monday, definitely be talking to you then. So Sunday, Monday, it'll be one of those 2 days I will almost guarantee you I'll get on. But I'm running at almost 33 minutes here, so I'll wrap things up there. Do all that good stuff on YouTube, and I'll see you Sunday night most likely. Yeah.